Hello, everyone. Welcome to BrainyHeart. I'm having a great conversation with Jonas today again. Hi there, Jonas.
Hi, Evelyn. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. It's been a good morning here in Berlin. How is in Sweden? How's the weather in Sweden, though?
Fantastic nowadays. We had a lot of sun, but yesterday it was raining. So today is really sunny day, and for hopefully tomorrow as well. But yeah, it's a great day to make a better world.
Excellent. Excellent. So today we're talking about emotions that can heal. Again, about this topic, I use social media, meanwhile, to get some inspiration to select topics that moves us, that challenges us throughout our lives. And then I realized, having addressed the topic of empathy last time, that we actually overdid with empathy, so it's a good idea to actually exercise empathy. Empathy is another discipline of keeping your emotional autonomy we talked about last time, and along with it, then I thought it's a good idea. We thought it's a good idea, dear audience, Jonas and I. It's a good idea to also address how powerful our emotions are. When we take a look at the history of human being, then we just see in 1990s, we read everywhere the magic of positive thinking, and then you have to think positive. And there was this book released, if you know, The Secret, so that you just send something to the universe and then it just comes back to you, the 1,000 euros you wished, and bangs over Mars and then comes over to you. This was a great idea for me to actually amuse myself with. Um, well, it doesn't work that way, but indeed there is a uh, universe of and secrets within us, and universe of emotions within us, and I think we should train this very um, part of us that actually got lost, got ignored throughout the linear wills and defined strategies of our mind, that we actually forgot this. Some call it little child in me, some call it God in me, some call it light in me, etc. This worry part is this in our limbic system sitting and anterior cingulate, and then that just, when it gets activated, you've got this feeling of, oh, like my holistic operator is online, and I'm connected to a being, and yeah, I'm there, kind of feeling. We all know this is a uh, unique emotion, unique state as human being. Not every, my cat doesn't have gamma moments. I don't hope so. I'd be jealous. So what do you think? I mean, I dived into this emotional world, the universe. So what can you say about this very metaphoric statement of mine?
Yeah, for me, emotion creates motion, and opposite as way. Well, so motion creates emotion. So it's a contrast, but still it's togetherness. So for me and my experience and like my knowledge is like I always start with an emotion in my body, and then it's come to the like solution of like when I move, then I create the motion so I can make it the stronger or weaker. So that's my take from like emotion and motion.
Yeah. So positive and negative emotions, right? So is the key over here, and we always thought, humankind always thought, this is the idea of marketing, I call it all the time, that there's always a supplier. So supplier of happiness, supplier of love, supplier of this. So, and now what we have to learn and what we have to shift actually in our minds is that I am the supplier for my feelings. and for myself. So they just say, oh, if my boss was more understanding, then I would do. If my husband loved me more, or if my child was like this, etc. So we always try to give the responsibility to outside. So I think the shift is today, from the modern human being, that we have to just say, well, I'm in charge. So like now, emotional awareness, we also talked about that. So now waking up in the morning and then just dully raising this question, what kind of film I am today? Oh, am I a horror film? Am I an adventure? Am I a romantic comedy? What am I today? Yeah. So if you do not want to really define this word feeling, you can even just call yourself a film. However, science says you really have to name your feeling. Yes, it's a very good thing. By this way, you expand your limbic system and prefrontal cortex. This is just a kind of ping pong, and that's why it's a good idea to be able to name, describe your feelings, like Hemingway did with the tastes. Yeah. So Hemingway explained the taste like nobody else in the entire literature. So should you be able to define and describe your feelings to yourself, not to the others. It's not particularly important that you just wake up and then tell your partner, oh, I feel like this today, but to yourself. And that is going to keep your holistic operator online the whole day long. So and I'm a very energetic person, like I pure in emotion all the time. And some of my clients told me recently, well, there's a saying in German, du ruhst in dich selber, or in dich selbst. So like, it's saying like, you rest within yourself. So you're very calm. I'm like, where does this calmness come from? And well, like I've been exercising this, that the holistic operator is online. You don't shake. You don't do that kind of thing. Yeah, but you're still pouring with energy.
Yeah, but I agree, like you said, but it's also from my side. I see every morning when I wake up, I set an intention about like how do I want to feel, and also like so I am in control, and my intention is to be positive. But just like you said, it's also important to me to be detailed about my intention. So like we talked about before, like the emotion wheel, the most people doesn't know the like more than the basic profound emotions. But if you go from happy, for example, it's a really different when you say it's joyful. So the language is really, really, and the word are really important to set the intention to make it a great day. So
Exactly.
so I really enjoy talking to you and hear you out as well. So
Well, I mean, exactly. Well, when we take a look at the neuroscientific parameters, then we just see as well, like dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin are released in positive emotions. So when we achieve something, then it's a dopamine release. When we did sports, it's a serotonin release. When we give a hug to someone, then it's an oxytocin release in our system. And these are all very positive chemicals, brain chemicals, and you don't need to do much. You have to move, just Jonas said, yeah, so that when you just go for a brisk walk 10-15 minutes, and then you raise your heart rate to 180-90, and after 8 minutes you slightly start sweating, then BDNF release, the brain derived neurotrophic factor, is a protein, is released within your system, that it's not possible to feel terrible. You cannot have terrible thoughts and emotions in your system when you have done this kind of practice every day or every second day. It's not possible. When you give your kid, your partner, a friend, a heartfelt hug and heartfelt care, it's not possible to have negative emotions within your system in that very day or in that very moment. So and we had to understand this. So we're just not a flesh and bone bag. So this whole metabolism pulls and pushes emotions, chemicals up and down, and we have to understand this word parameter like a brain owner, I say all the time, and a decent human being. When we just also pay attention to the parasympathetic activation. So we've got two protagonists in us. So there's sympathicus and parasympathicus. Parasympathetic system and sympathetic system. Sympathetic system is vagus nerve, they call it, is there to get us alive, agile, right? So when there's a bear attack or when there's a threat in our lives, that we just go fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? So I'm gonna show them, or we're like, first shocked, or we just want to run away. However, as said, our world that we created, faster, higher, better, etc. Yeah, we got lost, or we just forgot. We ignored parasympathetic system. So whoever learns to run in one way or the other to the targets, to the world, etc., should come down at some point. So and this is why we forgot. That's why activation or parasympathetic system is extremely important. Why? Yeah. So every time, for example, breathing exercises, right? Heart rate variability training. Every time when we take a deep breath, what happens? Our heart rate increases or decreases. What do you think, Jonas?
It decrease.
And when we exhale,
It's increase.
Are you sure?
Yeah, when I inhale, I think my heart rate goes up.
And when we exhale,
However, exactly when I exhale, my heart rate goes down.
Exactly. So by this way, by paying attention to our breathing, we automatically slow down our heart rate. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
it doesn't do whatever we want to. Just paying attention is already enough. You already answered my question, not by knowledge, by feeling it.
Mm. Yeah, and
So
that's it's also the same. Like when I talk to my clients, it's like you need to slow down without losing speed, and that's
exactly.
about, like you said, like breathing, slower
Exactly.
breathing, and a bigger deep breath.
Mm.
And that's like we talked before, I think, like a shallow breath, a shallow life, a deep breath, then you have a deep life.
Exactly. I mean, many people do not know how to do so-called belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, right? So they feel their lungs like crazy, and so, but like, are you able to send the air to your or diaphragm,
Mhm.
right, to your belly, and then get it up again? This is an exercise you should you can take a look at home. Put your hands on your belly, and your hand should go like this,
Mm.
right,
Yeah.
when you do the breathing, the belly breathing, right?
Yeah,
Well,
and I mean that puts the younger people as well. I mean, the youngster can't breathe correctly anymore because they are like stress breathing, like the shoulders going up instead
exactly,
of
this is what
like
I did
yeah,
immediately, so I see. Yeah.
yeah. So it's also like when you're able to read your own languages as well. So yeah, correct.
Exactly, exactly. And this simple breathing exercises, yeah, regularly coming down, or just having a positive state of mind. Hmm? So just like like believing metaphors, like everything comes to me, even the negative things, this is what I believe, come to me in the right moment
Mm.
to fix
And
things in my life.
that's like the saying that we say emotion can heal when you are aware and present. For example, like you took the breathing,
Yeah.
then the emotion can heal because you're only focusing on breathing and you can't focusing on everything else. So it's really help you to heal, and then you can connect the breathing together with the emotion and also regulate it.
Exactly. And what kind of, picture you just give. So visualizing, magic of visualizing. I tell my clients when we do HRV training, heart rate variability training, the discipline of biofeedback, then I tell them, like, okay, breathe in all the clean air and light, and exhale anything that doesn't belong to your beautiful system.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and then by this way they're cleaning their system, and really, and I'm like, oh, imagine that your blood is being cleaned right now, washed out of this whole cortisol from your system. And when people just visualize these kind of things, with closed eyes, then when we keep our eyes closed, then automatically the alpha brain waves go up. This is a small holiday for our brain, and beta is automatically turned off. So that's why you only give your system, every neurological being is like this. We close our eyes, take a deep breath, hold it, and
Do you do you
exhale.
get do you get the straight away reaction of that exercises?
Oh yeah, of course. They're plugged into the
Mm,
computers, as you can see.
mm. Because some
And
some of my clients, they don't uh, believe in it when they're doing it, but then I just telling them, just like breathe in love, exhale hate, for example.
exactly.
But then I just visionary them for like, okay, think of you get the fly in your mouth. What do? You spit it out. Yeah. So it's same. You breathe in love, you spit out hate. And then they connect that, okay, now I understand. Yeah. So, but I don't do the brain scanning like you do, the brain hat. So I only go for my own experience and knowledge and
Yeah,
intuition. So,
exactly. I mean, this is also my USP when doing my
mm,
job, that I have all the equipment, state of
mm,
the art equipment, to show people what's happening in their body and nervous system.
yeah, yeah. I
And
think
it's a very
you're
powerful
great.
feeling for them to see, hey, bloody hell, I'm able to control
Mm,
everything. I'm like,
mm.
yeah, you are.
But that's the truth. Like when you see it, you believe it.
Exactly. And
Mm,
let's try to understand this long term, believe in believing you're able to do something, that you're going to overcome things. Having this basic trust to your capabilities, to your luck, to God, whatever you believe in it. So, this positive attitude to life activates our medial prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate cortex, and our entire limbic system, is being activated.
mm. Yeah.
And by this way the brain rewires itself when we keep on this positive state of mind. Mm. So it's scientifically proven.
Mm,
So that a person who always says, oh, you're never going to make it, oh, I'm going to land under the bridge one day, terrible, and so on. And then we just see that there's very little neuroplasticity within their system, and their brain have issues to change, where positive state of mind, believing that there is something in the horizon, it's not there
mm.
yet but it's going to come, is very powerful, and keeps our brain healthy.
Yeah, and I think that's the truth as well. From like my older mentors, they always like one of my oldest mentors. He is like 80 now, I think. Yeah, I known him since he was 70, so 10 years. And when I met him, he was a former professional jazz drum player. And when I met him, he still trained 3 to 4 hours a day, but he also trained differently. So he actually told me like he had a mindset, like intention, like what more is possible. And for example, to understand how he trained, it was like normally you do like with the right hand your hi-hat playing and the left hand you play the drum. But every second verse he changed. So he played with the opposite hand on the drum, and that makes me like, oh wow. And then he was like inventing um new rhythm, so not the normal one. So he could do like a half or 1/16 rhythm, and it was impressing me like, okay, if he can do it, everybody else can do it. And he was like, yeah, he was not into the science, but he was just trying out as a curious person. And he's really vital up in like 80 years old now and still.
Exactly. I mean, the longevity has got
Mm,
something to do as well with the, your state of mind. Yeah. So
mm,
going back, the first idea or first research on this was done in 1978 by Carol Dweck, Stanford University,
mm, mm,
and she just talked about the growth mindset, so and versus fixed mindset. And it was actually groundbreaking. And later on, with EEG, etc., and fMRI, with
mm.
professional brain scans, we proved, or the science proved, that actually growth mindset is a very good idea. It's this long-term stamina. It's not just getting the bonus like the Mario game, yeah. So the short-term success, the dopaminergic success, but it's this long-term stamina that one's bring along the day, and without it, it doesn't matter how good food you eat, how much sports you do, you will not be able to make that age that you actually would like to reach. Sorry for my
Yeah.
toughness on that
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Nice,
it's it's
nice.
it's only a dull dream, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Right.
Chronic stress, cortisol, makes you sick. So when you just do not, if you try to please everyone, if you just have a lot of empathy, I'm just right now repeating the things we spoke about recent chapters. So and if you do not learn to control and ride your emotions, I say all the time, then you'll fall into chronic stress and too much cortisol in our system. I mean, I see a lot of people telling me, oh, my father was a very smart person, my grandfather was a smart person, and so on. Or, oh my God, he was a really successful businessman or businesswoman, very smart, she could remember everything, and so on. And all of a sudden they get dementia. Why? Yeah, because they've been poisoning themselves internally all over the years. And all this success, when you just are poisoning yourself with chicken shit, with negative thoughts, with neuroticism, then as a result, you're just going to, like after the age of 60, a very tough traumata can throw you out of the concept. And then you can just get the first signs of dementia or cognitive decline. So keep your heart clean rather than your home clean.
Mm.
Right, so it's very, very important. And too much negative emotions, negative stress increases the inflammation in our system as well. So on the paper, a lot of sportsmen, for instance, I studied sports psychology 2 years ago, and then it's understandable that they're fit, really tough personalities. However, when they do not believe in their success, when they get bothered by the team dynamics, when they get bothered with their coaches and decisions and so on, so the matrix organizations, then they poison themselves, and then they increase the inflammatory levels, inflammation in their body.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that a
So to
lot.
give a couple of like the CRP, TNF alpha levels are just going to show, and that you just have a problem or imbalance in the neurotransmitters within your system, as well as brain fog and fatigue is the result of thinking negative and critical all the time, because we just told ourselves this very lie. I have to think critical, you have to think strategically, then hey, come on, you cannot just look for evil in every positive approach.
Mm.
So
Yeah, yeah, that's my experience from when I'm working with pro athlete sports people. Like they need to train in the competing situation and environment, and it's really hard.
Envy that they suffer from, right? They
Yeah,
envy a lot, and
yeah,
they don't, they're obliged not to show this very negative emotion, but it
no.
makes us sick on the long run.
Yeah, and you can actually see that nowadays, like on the pro athlete that are successful out, but they are inwards really, really bad. And I can see it time after time about like, okay, we're just focusing on the outwards, like the result, not on the inwards. And recently, I've been following like the tennis player, and I can see like a lot of them are not happy to play. They are like anxious, and they haven't worked on that feelings. They only have worked on the techniques and the hit and all the balls and like that. So yeah, it comes
Exactly.
to an end finally.
Exactly, exactly. And the last point I'd like to bring along today is, ladies and gentlemen, is the amygdala hijacks. So those moments when we're totally angry, and what happens to our brain is that naturally connects cuts all the connections to prefrontal cortex, where actually the conscious thoughts and handlings take place. While when amygdala gets in hijack, then you will not be able to do any rational thing. You'll do all the irrational things, and this is the explanation where choleric people, right, so very angry people in the work environments, they say, well, I'm sorry, I don't know, that wasn't me. Why it wasn't you? Because your amygdala hijack cut
Yeah.
entire connection to prefrontal cortex, and you weren't you. Of course you weren't you. And so in that sense, I wish you, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful time scanning your positive and negative emotions, doing an appraisal about yourself and your emotional world, and taking care of this very universe within rather
Mm.
than the universe out there. Isn't that so, Jonas?
Yeah, I totally agree. So keep up the good work and see you next time.
See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.